Men, the trip to the moon has begun. What exactly is going on here? What is this XRP 2.28? It is just crazy, right? Because Bitcoin isn't going as strongly as XRP right now, right? Right, in comparison to Ethereum as well, right? Or any of these other currencies, guys. XRP is simply taking the lead right now, taking charge. Why is that? In the video for today, this is the situation that we are going to look into. The question is why all of this is taking place, but there are a few individuals who have called this move genuinely right, such as Waters Above, which is bad work, which is insane work. And men, have a look at this. Dear More P Army, we are about to receive an additional piece of summer clothing for $15 more P by the 24th of July in 2025. Alright, so this is absurd. This move, however, we give credit where credit is due to whomever calls the bottoms and tops, since this came from Waters Above. So we are talking about double ditches which are just on the horizon. I mean, if it was kind of like the peak bottom right around 1.62 cents, we would call that. Your XRP army should have reached the bottom on XRP by the 4th to 6th of June already, which may be considered days before anything ever occurred. This is simply insane stuff, right? You know, knowing where XRP will go to a specific price is much simpler than knowing the precise day. This is because you know where it will go. As to the location of a bottom, what took place on the 5th of June, people? Indeed. So. I mean, yeah, this is crazy. And now he's saying that, hey, we're talking about like double digits in the coming months, right? July. Wait, that's next month, not coming months. That's next month. End of next month, right? The reason why he's saying this, I think, is because looking at the fractal, okay? So he's copying a fractal from the past. I think this is 2017, right? A fractal from back here, guys. When he asks, where are we at right now, he is referring to ourselves in a literal sense. At this very moment, where are we? According to him, we are right here, guys, right where there is a symmetrical triangle or some kind of bullish pattern forming, right? A continuation pattern that takes us to the next like higher. And we are right there, guys, right about to experience $15 in the end of the next month, if this chart plays out, or if history repeats itself perfectly. Therefore, would you say that we are currently highly bullish? On the 12th hourly and the daily, there are bullish divergences that have been verified like a couple like 2 days ago or something, or a day ago, so maybe that's why this pump is now on a daily time frame. Let's examine. I was wondering all of a sudden why this pump is now on a daily time frame. On your calendar, there are whispers that are spreading that you should mark your calendar. 17th of June. The reason for this is because the Securities and Exchange Commission is anticipated to make a judgment about Franklin Templeton's proposed exchange-traded fund ETF for XRP, which is a move that has the potential to provide institutional investors with direct access to XRP through traditional markets. On the 17th of June, gentlemen, this is a strike because look at this, it is so out of character. The date of June 17, 2025 has been set as the deadline by which the Commission must either adopt or disapprove the proposed rule or initiate proceedings to decide whether or not to disapprove the rule. First, let's talk about the Franklin Templeton Spot XRP ETF, which is scheduled to take place on Thursday, June 17th. I will say it again, if this is allowed, people, this rally is going to happen, and I believe that is the reason why XRP has been pumping in the past. Due to the fact that everything had been calm up until this point, then all of a sudden it burst. It happened just randomly and unexpectedly. It appears that this is the reason why males, as of the 17th of June, if it is authorized, the moon has been confirmed, right? I will reiterate that the moon has been proven in a literal sense because of the institutional liquidity, the money that is being invested by institutions in the spot additional PETF. The reason why there is going to be a lot of interest is because there is going to be a spot extra PETF, and it is going to be extremely bullish because it is going to be, they are going to be purchasing off the market such as a Bitcoin ETF, and it is going to be backed 1-to-1 by XRP. Because XRP is now in the lead in this bull cycle, there is a lot of interest in it. Okay, and then there is just a tremendous amount of bullish energy flowing out. So one more on that note, and what exactly is going on the 6th of June? It is VanEck. The SEC was encouraged by Tony Winches and Canary Capital to bring back the first-to-rule position, as is the case in circumstances that do not include cryptocurrency. The first-to-file rule grants permission to ETFs based on who applied first. Therefore, it would appear that they are making preparations or potentially getting ready to launch these exchange-traded funds ETFs, particularly for XRP, which will once again be quite positive. It is also important to note that the Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund was established on the 5th of June throughout the week. I even said that they ought to have prioritized the value of XRP over that of Ethereum. In the video that came before this one, I believe we stated this quite clearly. Alternatively, one of the men, because XRP is simply so bullish, is that correct? Therefore, when Bitcoin moons, XRP is going to moon 3 times as hard, if not 5 to 10 times as severely. Is that correct? However, this is when things start to get a little bit messy. The Federal Reserve is going to reduce interest rates during the next Federal Open Market Committee meeting, which will take place on June 19th. Although it is already official, many are now speculating under a rumor that is spreading that the Federal Open Market Committee (FMC) is going to decrease rates during the next meeting of the FOMC. But wait, when will it happen? I don't see why that amount of time is so absurd. In 10 days, gentlemen, from now till now. Why is it so strange? Because on June 17th, they are going to make the choice on an additional PETF, and what happens the day after that? The meeting of the Federal Open Market Committee (FOMC), such as what are the possibilities of this happening? The market is speculating or suggesting that they are going to keep rates for the time being, which is correct. But once more, doesn't it seem insane? So, is it true that they have not yet refiled it? What exactly is going on with the dispute? After 20 days, the SEC, Ripple and district courts have not yet filed a refiling, and the deadline for doing so is on June 16th. There is yet another deadline to meet. The 16th, 17th and 18th positions were all ours. Literally, they arrive at 3 o'clock. By all means, it's not so. Should we be pumping for that reason? Right, leading the charge in every single piece of optimistic news that is even remotely feasible, as the status updates in the Second Circuit continue to loom big, you may anticipate the refile to take place before simply visitors arrive by that time. If there are no outstanding matters pertaining to tourists at the time that the parties submit the status report, the Second Circuit will only include tourists who have denied the initial request, and they will begin the briefing. Please resume the briefing. In the event that a motion is still pending before tourists at the time of the 616 status report, it is quite probable that the Second Circuit will push it back by a further 60 days. So what is the next thing to do? To put it simply, Taurus's message made it quite evident that both parties are in need of pleading for forgiveness. In order to get things done, Ripple will say whatever it takes, but how much public, what kind of retaliation is the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) ready to take, and how much? We have 12 days to find out, and we also have 12 days to find out, so once more in that time period, folks, right? Then it's true. For the second time, it is ready to become explosive. Is that something? Isn't that the next week? Beginning on June 4th, everything will take place the next week. On the other hand, you believe that we were just making things up. This is not the case because we have the calendar for the next full moon, which is scheduled to occur on June 11th. We are interested in seeing the next full moon as well. Do you agree? From the perspective of the charting person, let's discuss the various possibilities of the moon. As of right now, there is a good likelihood that the 5th of June was our significant pivot bottom. Astro is getting bullish again from the 8th to the 11th, and the full moon itself is quite bullish. Okay, now let's talk about what happens after we view this video in a moment. What will happen? One more time, what exactly is going on with XRP? We have just mooned right, and it was a pretty little moon, but yet it was extremely bullish. A bullish energy is on the way for the entire following week. The bullish external events or catalysts are as follows. Here is the one thing that I am keeping an eye out for. Alright, if the moon is right, people, we have to get above 250 first. Okay, if we are able to contain 250 people, then that indicates that people are going to be front running. Isn't it going to be about $3 instead? However, the only important level that I am keeping an eye on is this one level right here, exactly at this level. I am just looking for this one level at this moment now. Now, we'll say it again, if the security of 255 is penetrated in this manner, then the doors of paradise will open. Gentlemen, the doors of heaven, also known as the gates of heaven, swing open wide. It is 255. Now all you need to do is keep an eye out for the number 255 on your chart. Do you agree? Take note of it. I will say it again, if XRP is trading above that level and maintaining it as support, the doors to the moon will open. How come? That is because they will be required to pump XRP in order to... Do you agree that you should eliminate any bearish divergences that appear on the higher time frame charts, such as the weekly and 2-weekly charts? So like this, it gets to 285 people. If it remains bullish like that, at that point, we're just going to keep pushing and pumping till bearish divergences occur on the smaller time frames on the daily 2, 3, 4, 5.